And there's your new leader. Renfro has stayed out. So did the A truck. We'll find out if they'll pit when we come back.
It's on Kawasaki's heavyweight cruiser knockout with 0 down and low monthly payments. It's your shot at 3 reigning champs. The Vulcan 1500 Classic, the 1500 Drifter, and the 1500 Nomad. Or lend $500 in free accessories. Don't delay. Second thoughts never get a rematch. See your Kawasaki dealer today.
Whenever you see racetracks around the world, you usually see Mobil 1 signs. So many people think that Mobil 1 synthetic is only for high-performance cars. Well, let me dispel that myth for you right now. Mobil 1 can improve the performance of almost any car while protecting the engine even under the most severe conditions. So for the same reason the race guys use Mobil 1, so should you.
Nothing outperforms Mobil 1.
The same passion and dedication that drive our racing programs also drive the way we create parts for high-performance vehicles and high-performing vehicles like yours. Mopar, great parts for great vehicles on the track and in your driveway. That's the Mopar difference.
It's here! The last season. Hey, you may never see this swing again. Ken Griffey Jr., look at this.
Immerse yourself in the last season of the century. Watch Baseball Tonight on ESPN.
Touch 'em all, Junior! Touch 'em all!
With Jeremy Dale, Dave Burns, Amy East, I'm Marty Reed at the Michigan 200, and you're looking high above, courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp. They're providing all of our aerials today. The Stars and Stripes, based in Pompano Beach, Florida, at controls, Jim Maloney. He lives in Vienna, Virginia. Ever been there? It's a nice town.
I've not been to Vienna, Virginia.
It is a great little town. And that is a great view, looking down onto this huge speedway. One of the interesting stories that has really been fun to cover for us is the recovery now of Rick Carelli. Let's get caught up with him.
I always set the goal of trying to win 5 truck races. You know, we got an early win this year at Bakersfield. Ran really well at other racetracks like Homestead and Phoenix, but trying to finish in the top 5 of the points is what we shoot for. And, you know, we were that direction, but unfortunately it didn't happen. I wasn't really surprised that, you know, that we won Bakersfield because we were really close. I mean, when Rodney Haygood came on board, I think he came on board, we won St. Louis last year. And, you know, Bakersfield to me was a home track that I've raced there for years, and I knew in practice that we had a truck good enough to win. And when we qualified a little bad, I was a little disappointed, but I knew if everything went our way that we could fight for that win, and it all worked out that way. Memphis, I remember everything about Memphis. That's one thing I'm pretty fortunate about. I remember right at the start of the race, you know, I was just going to try and get into a rhythm. Mike Bliss got down in front of me, I think 4 or 5, maybe 6 laps into it. Bobby Hamilton spun out in 3 and 4. Then we had a restart. I ran in the back of Lance Norrig. Lance Norrig, you know, I don't know if he missed a ship or whatever, but I hit him with the left front fender. Remember the hood being up. Remember the spotter coming on the radio and say, we need to pit, we got smoke, smoke, smoke. And I didn't really want, you know, to come in the pits at that time because I knew if a yellow came, our chances of winning the race were out. So I rode it down the back straightaway again. They told me to pit, and I says, well, I'll come in the next time. And remember going down the back straightaway, going over the little humps there. I remember the truck going to the right, like the right front tire blew out. And when that happened, I remember hitting the wall extremely hard. I remember getting to, after I come off the wall, the corners workers getting to me. I remember my head being pinned forward in the truck. Then I remember them getting me out, you know, when the chopper was there, the whole 9 yards. I remember it all. I mean, it's the first thing I told them, you know, is when I got to the hospital, I remembered everything, and I told the doctors I was scared because I was bleeding out my ears. And he told me, don't worry about it. He's happy to see the blood out my ears instead of inside. And after that, I just sort of calmed down. And after that, it was a reality check for Rick Carelli after the Memphis 200 race. I remember that night being in the hospital. Greg Biffle won it. He was there with Jack Roush, and all the competitors were there. Everybody was there, and Ron Hornaday, Rick ran. Everybody came in that night when I was real sick and throwing up and stuff, and that was pretty overwhelming to me. A lot of people stayed with my wife for support. NASCAR came there that night. Dennis Huth came and Wayne Otten came, you know, to see how I was. They checked up on me and they followed up. Dave Linegar flew a crew down to CEOs down just to visit me like 3 or 4 days later. My owner, Marshall Chesron, stayed the whole time. And then on the way to Pikes Peak, Jimmy Hensley and his crew stopped in to say hello, all of Petty's crew. And you know, I received thousands of letters and thousands of get well cards, a lot of prayers and a lot of hope sent my way. Where I'm at, the doctors tell me I'm fortunate to be here with all the injuries I've had. I've been back in the shop. I went back to the shop probably right away when we got home and released, just to say hi to everybody and give them my support. And you know, unfortunately, last week we had to shut the team down. The only ones that's employed, Chesro Racing, is myself. So it's going to be tough to get a bunch of guys back like that to go forward, but hopefully when we get ready to do it, we can find the people to do it again. But getting back to the shop, I mean, I love to race, and that's what I want to do. And it's really hard sitting, but I remember when I was in Memphis, they asked me what they wanted me to pray for me, and I told them just patience. And part of the patience I've learned, so the rest of it is just getting through it and getting healed up.
We've just gone back to Green Flag Racing, and watching him recover has been the best medicine for all of us. Rick, continue progress. We'll see you back here at the track soon. Guess who's up front? The number 8 of Jim Sauter. He did not stop for a pit stop, neither did the 41 of Randy Renfro. And here comes Hornaday again, great on the restart. He's already moved into second.
So 2 Chevrolets up front right now, and actually a little bit of a gap there behind Hornaday.
Looks like it's Renfro back there in third right now, in front of Stacy Compton and the number 3 of Jay Sauter. In fact, Sauter's trying to go underneath Renfro. 2 abreast as they come by the start-finish line to complete lap number 26 of 100.
Now, Stacy Compton did not take tires on that stop.
Take a look at our Napa Field summary. You'll see where people will be going up and down in the points. Boy, Setzer taking a hammering. He dropped to 7th. Jim Sauter, our current race leader. Let's get an update from Amy.
Well, this has been a really interesting story with 1 team for 2 trucks. Well, not anymore, because the 31 truck of Kevin Sawinski, it was a tough start of the race for him. He is definitely out for the rest of the day. But that Auto Trim Best Buy team said, you know what? This is a team sport, and we'll come down and help out. So the 31 team will now be the pit crew for the 8, and they hope to make a stop soon.
Well, that certainly gives Jim Sauter a much better chance at doing well in this race, and great sportsmanship from Sawinski and the bunch there as their day is over. Also, take a look at this. 3 wide. That's Hensley in the 43, Wallace in the 2, and the Dana Dodge is Joe Rutman. Here comes Harvick, and that's all in from 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th on board the Dana Dodge. They are having a lift.
They're definitely lifting. But what's great is that you can see Wallace running great down the low side of the racetrack. The Dana Dodge in the middle, Rutman in the middle of the racetrack, and we've got trucks up on the high side of the racetrack. So a lot of good racing here because the racetrack is very drivable.
One of the best questions we had put to us as we're on board with Greg Biffle. He is currently running in 12th was, okay, why are they 2.5 miles faster here per lap than they were at California since they're sister tracks?
And 4 degrees of banking really makes quite a difference. And so I think a lot of guys came in here thinking, okay, it's a sister track, it's a similar layout, and a lot of the setups will work, and the setups didn't work, and the driving style is quite different as well.
4 degrees. It's 18 degrees in the corners here. It's 14 out of California. And it does present quite a bit of difference. 72 laps to go. Biffle looking underneath the Terry Cook. That would move him up a spot. And Jack Sprague has pulled all the way back to 24th. I wonder what is going on. The 21 right behind him there is Tim Steele in the HS Die-For. And I'm wondering what's happening to Sprague. Dave, you got more?
Well, Marty, we have an update on what happened at the pit stop. He was in here for a long time, and they were making a lot of adjustments on the 24 truck. They took out spring rubbers. They put in spring rubbers. They made track bar adjustments. They made air pressure adjustments. That's what took so long. They also changed right side tires for Sprague.
Well, but looking at his lap speed so far, it may not have been enough. He is still basically running in lockstep behind the 66 of Mike Stefanik. Meanwhile, look up front.
And what's amazing about Sprague, I just want to go back to Sprague for a sec. He was remember, we had 4 Dodges up front. He was the next quickest guy. He was the fastest aside from those 4 Dodges, so he was very good in qualifying.
Jim Sauter continues to lead. Now, you say, wait a minute, how can Jim Sauter, the first time he's ever jumped in a truck, be so good in this series? Well, remember, for 11 years, he has been doing all of the IROC testing that has been done at this track. And although he's never won a race here at USAC ASA competition, he ran 1996 in Winston Cup, and for Kyle Petty, he finished 20th. So Jim could pick up victory number 1 here at Michigan today if he can hold on to the lead up front. But Renfro says, I'd like a piece of it. Stay with us. We'll find out if he can get it when we come back.
It's probably hit you a zillion times by now. You could use a bug flector. Protects your truck from bugs and stones, installs quickly and easily. Bug Flector from Auto Vent Shade Company, maker of the original vent visor deflector.
For these vehicles and yours. That's the Mopar difference.
Every professional knows some jobs are held to a higher standard. Precision isn't an option, it's a requirement. So for the jobs that really count, you know, the ones that reputations are built on, the pros reach for Porter Cable. Because some crowds are just not easily impressed. Porter Cable, for the jobs that really count.
Dad, you could go now.
Most compact club cabs just aren't cut out for big loads. So you end up leaving a little cargo behind, having to lose a little weight, cutting your fun short. Dodge Dakota, however, comes up big with more available payload, towing, and power. Dakota, anything less doesn't cut it. Now get a $1,000 cash allowance on Dodge Dakota during the Dodge Summer Clearance.
Back at the Michigan 200, round 16 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. You're riding on 7th place with Andy Houston. Tonight, Reese Davis hosting RPM tonight. We'll have highlights right here from Michigan. Also, Busch Series highlights from Pikes Peak and kart qualifying for Michigan. Sneak peek on kart qualifying. If you don't want to listen, plug your ears, because Jimmy Vassar got the pole. Congratulations to Jimmy. 7 o'clock Eastern tonight. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com. This battle right now is for 7th place. Right behind him is the 18 of Joe Ruttman.
And Hensley's been alongside Ruttman a couple of times. There's Biffle and Wallace.
And Biffle's gotten around Wallace for 10th. And they're trying to pick their way through this pack as well. On board with Mike Wallace right now. Let's get an update from Amy East.
Right now, crew chief Tim Cahoot, he decided to take on left side tires on that round of pit stops, and there were some other trucks that thought they'd take on left side. His logic in that is that it was just too early for right side. They want to save those rights for later in the race. So right now, Mike's just content with where he is, waiting for the truck to come in, and then work his way up to the front.
And a quick footnote, anyone that follows NASCAR Craftsman Truck Racing knows that these teams only get 4 sets of tires when they show up for the race weekend, but because there was some extra practice time on Friday, NASCAR gave them a 5th set of tires, so they've got a little bit more room to play with on the tires.
Oh, things are getting interesting up front. Take a look now as we move back, as the 60 truck is about to be passed by the 25 of Randy Tolsma. And that is a battle going back and forth for 6th position on the racetrack. And here comes the number 2 of Wallace as he's coming screaming up through this field as well.
Clear, clear, clear.
Boy, Wallace just a couple of laps ago was 12th. Shows you just how quickly, if you get into the draft, you can make some things happen. And Mike now looking to go underneath the 25 of Randy Tolsma as we're back on board with Andy Houston.
Look at the run. Look at how he closes up coming off the corner. There's nowhere to go with that run, but the two of them in a straight line are going to drive right past Mike Wallace.
Tolsma was going to lose the spot till he and Houston hooked up, and now it's Wallace that's hung out on the low side of the track.
And Ruttman behind Houston is helping Houston, so you get 3 or 4 trucks in a row, and they'll really fly.
One of the other things is we're on board with Greg Biffle. Uh-oh, Greg Biffle slowing. The man who's second in the points. Down the backstretch is in trouble. The Granger Ford. Now it looks like he's trying to get back into the throttle. Did you think maybe he may have brushed the wall?
You know, I'm wondering if he just didn't get a little high coming off turn 2 there, and he needed to lift out of the throttle so he didn't get into the wall. Because he seems to be right back up to speed now. Look at the right side of the truck. Don't see any obvious damage on the right side of that truck.
He lost 5 spots back to 12th. Let's see if we can see what happens. Whoa, hang on.
Yeah.
That would get me to slow down.
Well, so that truck definitely a little bit on the loose side. Now, they were loose when they came in on that stop. They changed left side tires to try and tighten it up a little bit, but I guess they didn't quite get there.
Luckily, he keeps it off the wall, and now he's getting back into the flow of things. I'm sure those tires are heated up on the right side, but he's coming up on the 88 of Terry Cook. That would be for 11th spot. He dropped all the way back to 12th from 7th.
But what great maturity from Greg Biffle to not only great talent to catch that big slide like that and not keep it out of the wall, but also great maturity to just throttle back, you know, give those positions up, and now here he comes again.
Take a look at the Napa Field summary, the upper left-hand portion of your screen. Find your favorite driver, team, manufacturer, give you the updated point standings. Look at this, 3 wide down the backstretch. We're listening to Greg Biffle.
Outside. You're clear.
Dave's got an update on Greg Biffle.
Marty, the word is that the right rear tire may be gone on the 50 truck. They've asked him to live with it for right now, but he's extremely loose because of the right rear.
I love it how it's always easy for the crew to say, live with that. You know, you're only doing 170 miles an hour plus. Well, he's doing a good job of living with it, I'll tell you, because he's moved into 10th position. Let's go back and take a look at this. We're on board with Jimmy Hensley, and that's Biffle right out the back.
And they're down the front straightaway here, and he's pretty tucked in there. He gets a good run into turn 1, and you're going to see a big slide right about here. It's going to start the slide. It starts to move up the racetrack. Big slide. What a great job to catch that truck, man. Keep it off the wall.
And meanwhile, Hensley got around the 16. Let's go back to the lead and take a look at what is happening. There's Hensley on the inside, but the 8 and the 3 have hooked up. This could spell trouble for some of these other teams. They were practicing this all weekend. Dave, you got more?
When Jimmy Hensley came in, we said he might need a radio change. They didn't do it because it was an intermittent problem, and when he came in, the radio worked, so they left that alone. They did change 2 right side tires for Jimmy and loosened him up, and he's running pretty quick now.
Well, the 3 truck has just taken the lead from Dad. Oh, damage on the right front corner of Jay Sauter's truck. I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, we didn't see that, and boy, that'll kill you at Michigan. Although, remember at Texas, he had that big damage at Texas, and he was flying at Texas.
Now Jim Sauter has slowed, and in fact he's dropping a few positions. He's back to 4th, could be 5th here very quickly if Randy Renfro gets around him.
And look at this run that Compton has got on Jay Sauter.
Jimmy Hensley in 3rd, Jim Sauter 4th, Randy Renfro 5th. There they are, all 5 in your screen. Boy, I wonder what he did to tear up that right front corner.
Yeah, the right front. Look at Hensley, goes to 2nd, he goes by Compton. But yeah, that right front on Jay Sauter's truck is pretty badly torn up.
Well, you mentioned it. He was, I mean, the truck was junk looking at Texas. He finished 2nd. That's been his best finish in 1999. So maybe he should tear it up some more.
Well, but the problem was he really thought he had a truck there that should have won that race. And they did admit that it was hurting them at Texas. And how can it not hurt you when you're averaging 165 miles an hour?
Amy, you've got an update on what happened to Jay?
Todd Barrier said that he just got into the back of the truck that he was in front of, but that there is no tire rub. So Todd said to Jay, keep it out there and you're okay. But if you feel like there's a tire rub, if you feel like that tire is going down, bring it in immediately. But right now, they're okay. And they are remembering Texas. This truck can still be strong, even aerodynamically with a little bit of damage. So they're going to keep him out there.
Well, he's doing fine. He's got about a 0.2 of a second lead over the 86 of Stacy Compton. There's Randy Renfro still in the mix, along with Jimmy Hensley. Stay with us. A lot more action coming your way for the Michigan 200 in the NASCAR Craftsman Trucks Series.
If you love racing, you'll love the American Motorsports Club Sweepstakes. You could win your choice of a Chevy Camaro Z28 convertible, a Ford Expedition, or a Chevy Silverado. The winner will be drawn right after the upcoming NASCAR Winston Cup race, and all you have to do is call the toll-free number to qualify.
This is one supercharged sweepstakes, but you have to enter to be in the running to win. So give me a call.
There's no obligation, so call now to enter the American Motorsports Club Sweepstakes.
When precision, quality, and speed count, depend on Craftsman. When you need the power of a wrench with the speed of a ratchet, reach for the Craftsman Quick Wrench. The Craftsman Quick Wrench's unique open-end design lets you ratchet around fasteners. There's no need to reposition. Every quick wrench is up to 30% longer than conventional wrenches. That means extra leverage, more torque, and extended reach for tight spaces. Like other Craftsman hand tools, the Quick Wrench is guaranteed forever. Craftsman makes anything possible.
Y'all so nice. Well, I was working security at the Madison Square when I ran into G-Spole with the braids in her hair. That New York Liberty would bring home the rain. The story of G-Spole is not a story I sang. Y'all sing. New York Liberty.
It's the greatest racing on earth.
Exciting. Speed.
The drivers.
It's a rush. Exhilaration and acceleration.
Family fun.
Fast cars.
Top trucks.
The NASCAR Winston Cup Series, the NASCAR Busch Series, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. This is NASCAR.
NASCAR is racing.
Change for the lead up front. The 86 of Stacy Compton's now out in front of the Michigan 200 here at Michigan International Speedway. Round 16 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And the 43 of Jimmy Hensley has moved into second. Third place belongs to Jay Sauter. Renfro, who had come in for fuel at lap 45, is off course. And boy, he's sliding all over the place.
Yeah, he is sliding all. Now, that damage you see, by the way, on the caution is out. That damage you see, we think that was Jay Sauter. Let's go down to Dave.
They had a couple of problems on a pit stop while we were at break, guys. One of them was that they were having a little trouble getting fuel into the fuel fill. The other was they think they only got one lug nut on the left rear. They were going to come back down pit lane anyway, and now it appears the problem has bit them early.
Well, it's a shame because this team had done such a good job in qualifying. And boy, yeah, he is barely holding on to that truck. So this is our third caution here on lap 49.
And he did stop under green, and he had just gone down a lap.
So his chances of winning have gone by the